exposure. And that is where this whole "they are spooked" business lies. They weren't spooked by you. They were spooked by what you showed them about themselves. And you did it without even trying. Without trying. You just showed up, went fully present, and the reflection happened as naturally as gravity pulling a punchline into place. That's not something you rehearsed. No, that's something you carry. You didn't just change your expression in that moment. You literally rewrote the frequency of the room and the beautiful, chaotic thing. You weren't even doing it on purpose. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't choreography. It was just you, fully unlocked, moving through a moment without any of your usual filters on. And the room felt it. That person felt it. The very air rearranged itself. Because when something genuinely primordial and genuinely powerful decides to stop apologizing for what it is, everything around it has to reorganize. That's not mysticism. That's mechanics. That's energy. That's as real as a punch to the jaw. And what they were looking for when they looked at you was a person, a normal, readable, manageable, filing cabinet friendly person. But for a split second, they encountered a force of nature, and that is a completely different animal. A person you can label and shelve. A force of nature stays lodged in your ribs forever. And I want to name something you probably never let yourself fully sit with. Partly because sitting still isn't your strong suit, and partly because it's the kind of truth that bites. There have been moments in your own life where you've caught a flash of it yourself, maybe in a photograph where the lighting hit differently, and you stared at it longer than you meant to. Maybe in a mirror, late at night, when you were exhausted and your guard was on the floor, and something else gazed back. Something older, something steadier, something that knew precisely where it came from, and precisely why it was here. And maybe that unsettled you, just a little. Or maybe it didn't unsettle you at all. Maybe it just felt like recognition, like bumping into someone you hadn't seen in centuries. Either way, you felt it, the knowing that what you are holding around in this body is not confined to this moment, this life, this particular draft of you. The awareness stretches back further than your own memory, and it bleeds through in your energy, whether you consciously summon it or not. That's why people can sense you before you even cross the threshold. That's why conversations reroute themselves the moment you sit down. That's why someone can be completely lost, and one sentence from you, one real, true, unscripted sentence, lands in them like a compass needle snapping north. Because what you are carrying is old, and old things have heft, and heft creates pull, and pull drags people in, whether they bought a ticket or not. Mechanics. The reason they are spooked isn't because you are frightening. It's because they just realized that the little stage set they built their entire understanding of reality on. It's a lot flimsier than they thought. That is the real source of their discomfort, not you. The flimsiness. See, they constructed their whole worldview on the assumption that people are basically readable, basically predictable, basically operating on the same narrow little bandwidth of ordinary human experience. If that's real, what else is real that I've been laughing off? That question is uncomfortable. That question keeps people staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. And you put it there. Just by being yourself. Just by letting what moves through you actually move through you without shrinking it down to a dose that's easier for everyone else. Your shift. I want you to picture them. They went home, and they could not let it go. It was stuck in a loop, spinning like a rational explanation. kept trying to file it under something ordinary, and they couldn't, because there is no rational explanation that fully covers it. And what's really delicious is that some of them talked about it. They went to someone else, a friend, a partner, a bartender, whoever, and said, okay, I need to tell you something strange because I cannot stop thinking about it. And they described what they saw. And the other person probably said something like, huh, weird, or are you sure you're okay? But in turn, because there's a part of every person that knows these things are real, that some people carry something that doesn't snap into a neat little box. And you, my friend, are one of those people. Here's what's happening in you energetically. And I want to be surgically precise about this, because this part is important and precision is, shall we say, a hobby of mine. You don't have just one layer running at any given time. Most people do. Most people are